We've started our own little election headquarters here in New York for CNN.com and CNN.com Live, and we rely on the political expertise of our terrific team from the CNN television unit. And we have the opportunity to have conversations with the analysts and the correspondents who are also out in the field. So when they become available, and we love to have conversations with them, we chat with them. I can't tell you it's going to happen at 7:50. I can't tell you it's going to happen at 8:20 because we don't know. We just know we're going to be bringing our viewers that coverage. Of course, we're following the polls, we're checking the poll numbers, and we're checking, of course, also the exit polling, which we have a particular interest in because we'd like to know if the early polling is really holding true with how people are voting when they do get into the voting booth. As we know, it's a contentious election. I think a lot of people go in there really struggling with who they're going to vote for. It's become a very emotional race, as we've all discussed, not only on television but online. So we don't have a formal game plan. We have all of our ducks lined up, and if one little duck swims out of the way, that's okay. We prefer it that way.
Tell us a little bit about doing the show, what it's like.
We have endless flexibility. We have very little form or format, which is what I love. I love the fact that we really never know where we're going next. It's fun for someone that just kind of likes to fly by the seat of his or her pants, and that's what I love about this. In local news, which is where I really got my start in journalism, you stick to a rundown for the most part. With CNN Pipeline, now CNN.com Live, we may start with a skeleton rundown, but when there's breaking news or political coverage, we kind of just throw that to the side and we just go with the motions and go with the live shots that are coming in, or the reporters that dial in, or the news as it dictates. So it's really fun, again, if you like to just have a lot of uncertainty, which I do.
If you would have any sort of tips to people about how to be successful in sort of hosting a show, a news show, and connecting with the audience, do you have any sort of thoughts about that?
I think it's the same working online as if you were working on television. You still have to be kind of a sponge for information. I describe myself as a nerd. I love learning, and that's essentially what we're all doing as when we work as journalists. So I'd say be a sponge, just be curious about everything around you, and also just learn to be a good communicator and learn to listen. I think sometimes young journalists go into an interview maybe because they're a little nervous and they'll have all their questions planned out. It's good to do some planning, obviously, good to do research, but when you're listening to an interview, when you're listening to a conversation you're having with someone, it's okay to deviate. It's okay to maybe throw those questions aside and just focus on what you're talking about or what that person you're interviewing decides to talk about. I think those are some of the early tips that I got when I was just starting in the industry, and I'm still learning. I think that's the one part about being a journalist that's great. I learn every day from the information I'm learning, from the amazing political unit that I have the opportunity to work with, and from some of these stellar award-winning journalists that are part of the CNN team. I feel like I'm doing a promotion,
I know,
but I mean, it's really, honestly, one of the great things about working for CNN.com Live is how we've really developed a great working relationship with all the other units of CNN.